Hi, and welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Linda Shea, the Division Director. With me is Randy Cooper, and every week on Pet Pals we take a look at 10 of our adoptable animals that are looking for families to come in and fall in love and adopt them. First little puppy we're going to take a look at is Alex. Alex is actually an adult. He's about 8 to 10 years old, and being a toy mixed breed, he's about 15 pounds, would probably do better at about 12 pounds. So if you are interested in adopting a dog like this, you want to make sure that you consider how you might manage his weight. Came to us, believe it or not, as a stray from Reichsford Road in Frederick. So if you have a neighbor that might be missing their dog, if you're missing your dog, if you know this dog from the neighborhood, you might want to knock on doors and just explain to folks that he is here at the animal shelter on Rosemont Avenue. Being a little bit overweight and being a toy breed, that has put some unnecessary stress on his joints. So what we had our vet take a look at him, and his hind legs, or his knees and the hind legs are a little disjointed. He's got what is known as luxating patella, which means the kneecap is not as stable or sturdy as it really should be. And given his age, and that would be up to the adopter if they wanted to consider surgery, consult with a veterinarian. What we're doing for him at the shelter right now is just making him comfortable. So he is on a supplement called glucosamine that will help support his joints a bit. We're also managing his food, but the short stay in a shelter is not going to be enough to kind of slim him down to where he needs to be. But he's got a wonderful temperament. We named him Alex, so we're not sure what his name actually is. And we've got him down as a Chihuahua mix, although at first impression, we both kind of saw a Pomeranian in there. So that's the joy of a shelter dog. A lot of times we might have one breed listed, but the more you get to know the animal with their behavior and their looks, you kind of see other things mixed in there. But again, this is Alex, and being 8 to 10 years old, he does qualify for a $40 discount. So instead of the $92.50, his adoption fee would be $52.50. This handsome boy is Diesel. He might be a familiar face on Pet Pals. He was adopted from the shelter about 2 months ago, and then the family members developed allergies to Diesel, so he is back with us now. He weighs about 76 pounds. He's very affectionate. So despite his size, despite his breed, he thinks he's a lap dog. So he is more than happy to crawl up on your lap, and that would be between you and Diesel. Different dog owners have different rules in the family. You just need to make sure that within your family you're consistent with the rules. You're either allowing the pet on the furniture or you're not. You're allowing them to counter surf while you're cooking dinner or you're not. Really needs to be across the board. Dogs thrive best in a world of consistent behavior, consistent manners. So if you set down the ground rules and everybody gets on board and you have a family meeting, that would be a best environment for a dog like Diesel. But he is very well-mannered, very affectionate. You can see he's not overly anxious. He's a pretty confident boy, but he is big. So you want to give consideration if you're adopting a dog like this that you can handle him, that you might be able to pick him up if you needed to get him into your vehicle, and those sort of things. He came into us, and we've got him down as a pit bull mix, but pit bulls in general, there's just a variety of looks that they can have. So in looking at Diesel, he's solid, he's compact, there's some bulldog-ish qualities to what he looks like, and of course he's got that gorgeous blue coat. So if you're looking for a bully breed, we do evaluate all of our dogs regardless of breed. So a good dog is a good dog, whether it's a pit or a Pomeranian, and Diesel we consider to be a good dog. So we do have him color-coded appropriately. He's current on all vaccines. He's already neutered, he's microchipped, so he would be a relatively quick adoption if you're interested. We do some checks. We want to make sure that he is a good match for you. We'll have an adoption interview, and then hopefully we'll be able to send him home. So this handsome guy is Brutus. Brutus was adopted from our shelter when he was much younger. He is at this point about 8 years old, and coming from our shelter, we know he's already neutered, he's microchipped. We brought him up to speed on vaccines. The vaccines that he had from his adopted folks had expired prior to them relinquishing him to us. And the reason that Brutus was brought back to us, his family was moving and unable to take him along. So part of our adoption contract states that we take responsibility for our adopted animals for their whole entire lives. So if circumstances change, if the adoption doesn't work out for any reason, regardless of reason, we will take an animal back, and then we do the best we can with placing them back on the adoption floor. So despite the fact that Brutus is 8 years old, still available for adoption, still young at heart. He does have some old dog things. He's got some fatty tumor lipoma things on him. We did send him out yesterday. He had a tumor inside his mouth, so we sent him to one of the local vets and we had that removed. So the animal shelter has, as a county entity, we are 100% funded by your county tax dollars to exist and to provide the care for the animals that we take in. So we have limited resources, but we do work with local veterinarians that offer us sometimes significant breaks on the pricing of medical treatment. We're not able to do that for every animal that comes in, and depending on their adoptability, depending on the extent of the medical needs that they have, we might or might not be able to help them out. But in Brutus's case, he just had a little lump in his mouth. We got rid of that to make him more comfortable. He is being treated now with antibiotics as follow-up. So he's a great dog. He's got good manners, walks nicely on a leash. So you can tell he's very camera friendly and certainly agreeable to being pet. So if you're looking for a senior dog, you might want to consider Brutus. This handsome guy is Chewy. Chewy is also a return to shelter. He was adopted from us a few years ago. He is now 6 to 7 years old approximately, and he is a very handsome Sheltie mix. He's about 31 pounds, so when I look at him, I think he's the perfect dog. He's the perfect size. He's got a great personality, great temperament, and even though he's predominantly Sheltie, he's very quiet. A lot of times Shelties are very vocal, and Chewy is just not. He walks nicely on a leash. He's very social. He has lived in a fairly busy family, 4 kids and all of their friends and family, busy lifestyle. He's been around other dogs. He has been well cared for, again, well socialized, just very friendly, sweet demeanor. So if you're looking for even a first-time pet, I think Chewy would be a good dog choice. He's fully grown, again, at 31 pounds. The one thing you need to consider is his coat. He's going to need some either professional maintenance or brushing on a regular basis. And if you're not a fan of vacuuming or sweeping, then he might not be a good choice for you. But he's got that thick double coat that just needs some routine maintenance, and a brush would be sufficient, a bath periodically, or a professional groomer if you are able to do that. But we've brought him up to speed on all the vaccines he needs. He is already neutered, he's microchipped, he's current on a rabies vaccine, so he would also be another relatively quick adoption. And at 6 to 7 years old, he does qualify for a senior pet discount. So instead of our normal $92.50, Chewy's adoption fee would be $72.50, and that covers everything that we've listed off. So hopefully if you're looking for a sweet older dog, Chewy might fit really well in your family. So this little fella is not a dog. This is one of the kittens that's available for adoption on our floor. And as we've mentioned previously, and in different locations and off-site satellites, we are now into kitten season. So Gordon sort of qualifies as a kitten. He's about 6 to 8 months old, so on the older edge of kittenhood. Came to us as a stray from Red Rose Court in Middletown, and he was trapped. And then an officer went out, picked him up, and was brought to the shelter. No one's claimed him, so he's available for adoption. With stray cats that come in, we do test them for feline leukemia and feline immunodeficiency virus. So Gordon has tested negative on both of those viruses. We've brought him up to speed on vaccines that he's needed. We've gone ahead and microchipped him in anticipation that he will be adopted, and prior to leaving here, he'll be neutered. So if you're missing a pet, the basic rules are if you're missing a pet and it comes to the shelter, we are obligated to hold pets for 5 days, and that allows owners to come to the shelter to identify their pet and to reclaim them. But during those 5 days, we're evaluating for adoption because we don't want animals to stay here any longer than they need to. So Gordon is now available for adoption. He came to us mid-May, so he's been here just about 2 weeks at this point. Very social, very friendly, overall very healthy, so we're looking forward to adopting him. And one thing that you need to realize that in Frederick County, both dogs and cats, they need to be maintained on your property. So if you have a situation in your neighborhood where a neighbor is allowing pets to free roam, first line of defense, we recommend just talk to your neighbor and explain that you don't want their pet on your property. And then secondarily, you can always contact us for information or assistance. But Gordon is available for adoption. He's a gorgeous brown tabby, and we're looking forward to seeing him go to his forever home. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, we're going to take a look at 3 more kitties and then 2 special guests.
Hi, I'm Tracy and this is Catherine. We are Frederick County 911 dispatchers and we're here to tell you what to expect when dialing 911.
We're on the line to listen, and we also have important instructions to give you. Your 911 operator needs to get essential information from you as quickly as possible by asking the following questions in this order.
What is the address of the emergency so we can send the right help to the right location? What is the phone number you're calling from? If the line disconnects, we may need to call you back. What is your name so we can address you properly? And tell me exactly what happened. Asking these questions allows operators to start dispatch to emergencies quickly.
Your 911 operator is often working closely with 1 or more dispatchers, obtaining important information which is relayed to responders who are on the way to your location while you are still on the phone.
This process is repeated on each call to ensure responders get to each emergency as quickly and safely as possible with the right information to provide the best service they can.
Law enforcement, fire and rescue, and other responders rely on 911 operators and dispatchers to obtain specific information that varies with each type of call. Sometimes it may seem as though your 911 operator is asking a series of unnecessary questions, but in fact this information is vital for getting the right help sent to the right place. Often, help is already on the way while your 911 operator is talking to you.
While emergency crews are responding, dispatchers continue to provide them with updated information gathered by your 911 operator.
Also, your 911 operator may be able to provide you with important life-saving direction, from how to safely exit a building on fire to CPR instruction, providing important information for staying safe and out of danger during a vehicle accident, as well as helping a caller deliver a baby.
For more information, visit frederickcountymd.gov/911 or call the non-emergency number at 301-600-1603.
Welcome back to Pet Pals. Now we're going to take a look at 3 of our feline friends and then 2 special guests at the end of our show. First little kitty we're going to take a look at in this segment is Jasmine. She is a basic black domestic short hair, very chic, very sleek looking. She's only about 6 pounds and came to us previously owned. The person that turned her in had just too many cats on the property, so we have 3 of them here in the shelter available for adoption, and Jasmine is one of them. We have brought her up to speed on vaccines. We've tested her for feline leukemia and feline immunodeficiency virus, and she's tested negative for both of those things. And that's important to know, especially if you have existing cats in your family. You want to make sure that you know the virus status of any incoming cats so that you can prepare properly and just be educated on that. Prior to adoption, we do have an adoption process, and what that involves, it takes about 3 or 4 days to come into the shelter, find an animal you're interested in, fill out an adoption application. We do some preliminary checks, and then probably the most important part of the whole entire process is our adoption interview, where we sit down face-to-face, some uninterrupted time, and we go over the animal's medical history, any behavior notes. We discuss where the animal came from, if we know where they came from, their history, and we want to make sure that they make a good match for your family. We also want to make sure that in the instance of cats that you understand a commitment can be at least 15 years. So if you're adopting a kitten like Jasmine, who is only 6 to 8 months, if you fast forward in your life to about 10 to 12 years from now when the kids are in school, are you still going to be interested in taking care of her? If you anticipate a move with your company, are you going to be able to take her along? If your family increases in size, what is your obligation to your pet and what is your commitment level? So we place animals every day with the hopes that they stay with their families forever, and that's part of why we have the adoption process. But this little girl is going to have no problem getting adopted. And again, this is Jasmine, 6 to 8 months old. This handsome fella, we have named him Lefty. Lefty came to us as a stray from Crestwood Boulevard in Frederick. So if you're missing a pet from that area, you want to make sure that you check the shelter. A lot of folks think that because the shelter is located in Frederick City on Rosemont Avenue, that animals only come from the immediate area, but that's not correct. We serve all of Frederick County, so all the way from Emmetsburg to Adamstown, Mount Airy, Newmarket, you name it. If you're in Frederick County, we are your local animal shelter. But Lefty came to us as a stray. We were called out there. An officer went and picked him up. We named him Lefty. His left front paw is deformed. He certainly can move around quite well without it. Doesn't seem to slow him down any, and actually if I hadn't mentioned that, you probably wouldn't be able to tell unless you kind of looked at him a little more closely. But he certainly walks well, uses the litter box, he eats well. He is about 8 pounds and is overall healthy. He's an intact boy. He's about 18 months old, so relatively young. And so he's learned how to compensate despite that deformity to the left front paw. But he's got a great personality, great temperament. We have him color-coded orange, and we do color-code our animals blue, orange, or green. The blue cats are the ones that are more likely to be lap cats. The ones that are green are a lot of times kittens are green. They just don't have a lot of manners, or they're a little bit shy, or kind of working on their sociability. And orange cats are somewhere in the middle. They've got good manners, might be growing into their mature personalities, and Lefty is getting close to kind of leveling off on his temperament and as well as his size. Prior to leaving here, we will go ahead and make sure he is neutered and microchipped, so in the event he gets away from his new family, we can get him back quickly if he ends up here or at a vet's office. If you have any concerns about adopting a cat with only 3 legs, there's definite benefits. I have one at home, and one of the benefits I've noticed is that while my other cats can get up onto countertops, my little 3-legger cannot. She can get on the bed, but she does a significant amount of less damage just because she can't navigate as high up as the other cats can. So if you've got any questions or concerns or would like to meet Lefty, we encourage you to come visit. So this pretty girl is Bella, appropriately named. She's about 4 years old. She was turned in from an owner in Mount Airy. That person just had too many cats and was unable to keep Bella. She had her for a couple of years, and one thing I like about Bella's profile, we asked people, where does your cat sleep? And Bella would sleep anywhere, usually next to someone. So she's very social, very friendly. You can see she's very comfortable, and her previous owner also describes her as a lap cat. We ask, is your cat more independent, or do you consider your cat a lap cat? And Bella's definitely a lap cat, and exemplifying that here. One thing you want to notice about Bella is her left ear. Part of it is cut off, and that is done deliberately. So she's known as an ear tip cat. And traditionally, until very recently, maybe the last year or so, ear tip cats were typically outdoor cats. They were not social, unhandleable. They were ear tipped so that you could tell from a distance that they had been spayed or neutered and vaccinated for rabies at least once. And that would kind of help manage a population, particularly an outdoor population or community cat population. What we are seeing in this shelter, and I'm sure other shelters are seeing the same thing, we're seeing that ear tipping done more frequently for pet cats, for inside cats, for lap cats. Even some shelters and rescues are doing that left ear tipping again, to indicate that the cat's been spayed, neutered, and rabies vaccinated at least once. The one-time rabies vaccine does not protect them lifelong, so that is something that needs to be boosted. So if you have a pet cat, you want to make sure that you stay with that according to your veterinarian's guidelines. But again, the ear tipping doesn't indicate anything other than the spay, neuter, and rabies vaccinated once. Bella is available for adoption, and you can see her temperament is definitely suited to be an indoor pet for someone. So at 4 years old, she still has a lot of years left, and we are looking forward to placing her in a new family. All right, so we're back with two special guests today on Pet Pals, as we promised. I have Chrissy, who is about 2 to 3 years old, and Randy has Jill, who's about 4 years old, and these guys are ferrets. Jill is considered a silver ferret. She's mostly white, but you can tell like the silver coloring on her. And then I've got Chrissy, who is a dark-eyed white. So she's predominantly white. She's got a little smudge of silver on her forehead and muzzle, but and she's got the dark eyes. So these guys are from a collection of ferrets that were actually abandoned. They were left behind by their owner and walked out on, and we responded and brought them into the shelter. So there's a few things that need to be addressed. The primary thing is that there is really no reason to abandon an animal. We are the one and only animal shelter in Frederick County. We're open admission, meaning that if your pets need us, we are available for you. We're here 6 days a week, open to the public. We respond to phone calls and concerns through the day, and certainly for emergencies 24/7. Every day of the year, whether it's snowing, whether it's a holiday, we are here to serve the public. So if you're having an issue and need an emergency situation resolved with your pets, you want to make sure you call us. The other thing is that when you abandon an animal, we don't have as much information about that animal. So while we do the best we can to place animals, if we can't get in touch with an owner, if the owner leaves and leaves no forwarding information, we have a more difficult time. We can usually figure things out as far as ages and certainly species and social qualities of an animal, but it makes it so much easier if we have that information firsthand from an owner. And the other thing to discuss is ferrets in general. They are considered exotics. So dogs and cats are pretty traditional pets, but ferrets require special food. They need proper nutrition to keep them as healthy as possible. These little guys were left with cat food, which is not appropriate for ferrets. So the other thing, ferrets can have a unique set of health issues all their own. So you need to have in your little tool bag, if you're going to own a ferret, you need a veterinarian that is fluent in ferret diseases, preventatives, vaccines. They do require a rabies vaccine in the state of Maryland by the time they're 4 months old. They also get a series of other vaccines that we've provided. So these little girls are already spayed. They are descented, but they still have a little musky odor, and they are mustelids, so they are part of actually the skunk family. So you want to keep that in mind also. As charming as they are, as fun as they are, they're a big responsibility. So you need to be able to have resources. You want to make sure that you invest time, and you want to make sure that you keep them social. They can be a little nippy, just like any animal that has teeth. You want to make sure that you're able to trim their nails. And these little girls are, from what I'm gathering, they're fairly easy to handle, but ferrets do what they do best. They ferret around, so definitely have an energy level. You want to make sure that you keep them safe. They can travel down sinks and drains and get behind refrigerators and under furniture and places that you probably never gave thought to until you've owned a ferret. So we certainly have on hand, we're lucky to have a good ferret resource, one of our foster care providers that is fluent in all things ferret. So if you have questions, concerns, if you're considering adopting one or getting one from a rescue organization, consider us a resource. Certainly make a phone call, place an email, and we can certainly answer any questions that you might have. But these little guys are up for adoption, and again, you want to make sure that you call ahead. They're in foster care. They don't actually live in the shelter. We protect them in foster care just because the shelter can get very noisy, very loud, when we want to make sure that they're in the best environment that they can be in, so they're actually in a home. But again, I've got Chrissy, and Randy has Jill, and these girls are looking for a forever home. And that wraps it up for this week's Pet Pals. We are glad you joined us. If you see any animals on our show today that you're interested in adopting, you want to make sure you contact the shelter. We hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you next time on Pet Pals.